Hi, good evening. My name's Jason Depley, and tonight we're going to review a whiskey from the Highland region of Scotland, Deanston. Deanston is not well known, or at least not well known to me, and I haven't seen it in liquor stores very often. So when I saw a bottle of the 18-year-old, which was brought in special for a festival, I thought I'd grab a bottle, and so I did. And I've been sampling it, and my friends have been sampling it, and it is a whiskey that I've heard a fair bit about. It's got some love online and not so much love online from some others, but the positive about it is for an 18-year-old single malt, the price point is not bad. It's not chill filtered. It uses no E150, no artificial color. The distillery uses only Scottish barley. They don't import barley from anywhere else. Couple other things I'm trying to think of. Oh, the alcohol by volume is quite elevated. It is 46.3%. So there's a few things going for it. And most interesting about Deanston 18-year-old is that it is aged exclusively in ex-bourbon casks. I think it starts out initially in ex-hogshead casks, and then it's moved to smaller casks, their first fill bourbon casks. So that's a little different in the sense that there's no sherry casks involved in the wood management to my knowledge, and from what I've been able to research. We're going to try it. Oh, maybe I'll give you a little history lesson. So, Deanston Distillery started out in 1785, not as a distillery, but it was a cotton mill. And cotton production in England was a big thing with the before the Industrial Revolution, or maybe during. And so it was a cotton mill from 1785 till 1965, where cotton production, or the demand for cotton, had just dropped off precipitously, and therefore the workforce dropped off, and somebody had the idea to convert the cotton mill to a whiskey distillery. And as you know, a cotton mill has a river running through it or by it, and so it's perfect unlimited source of good water for a distillery. And the River Teith, I think is the Teith River, is the particular river that sources the water for this. So 1785 cotton mill, 1965 distillery, 1967 the distillery opens, 1971 is the first bottling. Initially it was sold mostly in bulk, the malt production to be used in blends. But then by about 74 they put out their first single malt that they named Deanston. And in 1982 till about 1990 it was closed. And this and then it reopened when it was bought by the Distill Group. And when it reopened, they didn't have the 18 right away, obviously. So the 18-year-old single malt that I'm trying today was launched in 2015. So that's enough of the history lesson. Okay. I've got a big pour here. Maybe too much. I've got another glass here. The reason I say too much is because I want to add water to it. Well, I'll add water to it after. Oh, and the water's over there. I'll go get it. I had to, this is an unscripted review because I had the water over on a filing cabinet because I've got a cat that keeps coming on my table and tries to be affectionate because I've been at work all day and my wife and kids are out of town. In any case, on the nose, sweet barley, oven fresh bread, bread rolls, obviously no sherry, virtually no peat. This is not a very peated whiskey. In fact, it might be unpeated. I don't really know that. Oatmeal with, it's the nose is good. It's a bit floral. It's, you know, it's hinting at what you're going to taste on the palate. Now I'm going to try it undiluted at 46.3%, and then we'll add some water. Apple juice. There's a bit of a spice to it. Black pepper on the finish. Kosher salt, sea salt. Almost a brine-like note. Just a faint, I shouldn't even say brine, more like salt, just salt. Orange. Lemon zest, certainly have some vanilla, some oak, some yeast, some bread, white pita bread. It needs water. I think it needs water. I've tried this, so that's too big a pour. I'll take a pour like that, which is about an ounce and a half. Add a little water here. I like to bring my whiskey down to about 43%. Just my preference. I find kind of the ideal ABV for me is around 43 for Scotch whiskey. I'm not a cask strength guy. I find with cask strength whiskeys, obviously you can't drink them neat, or I can't. And if you do, it's a real guesswork about what's the right amount of water, and it becomes almost like a mathematical puzzle. Okay, water tames it a lot, and I probably put a bit too much. So now I got this one neat. Maybe I'll just do it with a drop here. There. Okay. I can see a little oil in there, which tells me it's not been chill filtered. That's the ticket. Just a little bit of water. 1 squirt of this device. Somebody gave it to me at a whiskey festival. That's all you need with this. So really I wouldn't bring it down to 43%. It's probably a bit higher. Now I'm getting lemon drops. Kind of British confectionery, you know, those little gummy bears and all the different flavors. Toast. Apple. A little bit of tangerine. Pineapple. Balsa wood. Oak. It's a little astringent. Definitely, you know, it's ex-bourbon casks. Fruit cup. It's not very sweet the way I'm tasting it. And I came right home from work, didn't eat my supper, wanted to have a really clean, authentic palate to taste this. Gets more sugared as you get used to it. Gumdrops. A little bit of a sugared donut. But on the finish, you have like an oakiness that hangs there with a bit of black pepper. That's just not rocking my world. Bit of peppercorn. So, what do I think of this whiskey? It's not bad. I think it's approachable for a novice, somebody who's not used to single malt, wants to try an 18-year-old that is not a peat or smoke bomb or a sherry bomb. With a little bit of water, you can enjoy it. I personally am not a huge fan of this. I would not buy it again. It is not a bad whiskey. It's fairly balanced, but it lacks complexity and flavors in the wheelhouse that I prefer. I like sherry. I like port finishes. And if you have to have a sherry element in a whiskey for me, but that's just my own personal preference. I think this is good, not great, but where it's an 18-year-old and you're paying a premium price, you may want something great, and this is not great. Good, but not great. really have to tinker with the water to get this right. I'm going to pour another one just neat. Yeah, and if you put too much water, it gets a bit peppery, oddly enough. So this is just neat. Lemon, orange rind, a little bit of grapefruit pith, and then it gets that black pepper finish. The finish is long, but not overly enjoyable. Wouldn't buy this again, and considering the price, it's probably not worth it. Don't want to bash it too much, but yeah, it's not a horrible whiskey. I don't feel ripped off, but I don't feel that I profited by buying this bottle. Thanks for tuning in. Maybe in a couple hours I'm going to upload my review of the best whiskey of the year. In my opinion, something that's under $100 that I think is really exceptional. And I think you'll be surprised, and it's widely available. Take care, and come back for another review.